Good morning. Hmm. What I've been thinking about this morning is Japan and the Ring of Fire. Since the earthquake happened last week, there's been a lot of information that I've read and watched. And people have asked me over the past week what I think, what my perception is. And it is my perception based on information that I've looked at. I do not want to give the impression that I'm 100% right about anything, because all I can ever share with any of you is my perception. And we each need to realize that for ourselves, that whatever we believe the truth to be is our perception based on the things that we've looked at, the things that we've allowed through our filter of reality. What is reality to us? But I do want to talk about Japan because some of the things that I've looked at have been very inspiring, to say the least. The video of the dog protecting the other dog, and both of them getting rescued, was just a heartwarming story of the faithfulness of dogs. My Chinese astrology is I'm a dog, very loyal, very dependable. I've been that way from my perception my entire life, but also in Japan, in the aftermath of the disaster that happened in the northeastern part of Japan. There wasn't any rioting. People were very polite and behaving in a very dignified manner, which indicates tremendous character of the Japanese. Tremendous character. And this is a beautiful thing, and there's always whenever disasters happen anywhere in the world, whether it's in New Zealand or Chile, and around the Ring of Fire, now we've got clock points. As one commentator pointed out, we have clock points, first the Chilean one, then the Christchurch one, now the Northeast Japan earthquake in the United States is going to be next. So all sorts of reports circulating about that. Are these events random or are they man-made? Is of course the question that's on a lot of people's minds. And earthquakes are a natural phenomenon around the Ring of Fire. They've been going on for a long time. There has been increased intensity. Some attribute that to earth changes, natural earth changes. In what I believe spiritually and metaphysically, I believe the earth changes are being exacerbated by man-made technologies, including and especially HAARP. But I don't believe HAARP is necessarily the only technology that we have that's able to affect things that we would term, generally speaking, natural disasters. But that technology has existed. I've been aware of it. Many people around the globe are aware of it. And this is still being controlled, whether it's the HAARP facilities in Alaska or in Australia. I think it's at Pine Gap in Australia. These facilities are being controlled by the dark forces as we've come to know them, by the Rockefeller chain, the Rockefeller clan in the United States, that part of the Illuminati, the Bush cabal, run by not the most recent Bush president, but the earlier one. And these people have been known to do dastardly deeds. And one of the interesting things about the nuclear plant that's had so many problems in Japan as a result of the earthquake and the tsunami and the meltdowns is that it was a plant built by General Electric. And General Electric is a company that's been well known to not have the best interest of humanity at heart. They work for the eugenicists in our world that want to cull the world's population down to a more manageable number. And they keep coming up with all sorts of plans, and creating natural disasters, and fear is certainly one of them. It's backfiring though because of our consciousness, because in this ninth wave especially, we are becoming so awakened, and their attempt at power, the ethics and the lights coming on and people becoming aware, is just making it increasingly more difficult for the they. And again, you don't know how much I dislike having to refer to a them or they, because I still really see it all interconnected as us, and I always will. I can't go back to seeing a disconnect anymore, a separation. But there are people in our society that are playing dark roles, and our ability to love them is changing a lot. But Benjamin Fulford indicated yesterday on what's the name of the program? I forget. It was Carrie Cassidy and Project Camelot. I couldn't think of it for a second, but I did listen to that, at least a major portion of that interview. And his report from Japan is very revealing. I mean, there were engineers that quit because of the design of that power plant. And the Japanese government isn't evacuating people in the 30-kilometer area around the plant, just telling them to stay in their homes right now. And he reported that the radiation in Tokyo is basically normal now. So it's not as big a problem as some of the news media would tend to have us believe. And we need to be aware that a lot of what comes out on the news is exaggerated, and some of it is downright lies. And so we do need to be aware that the mainstream media often has ulterior motives in what they report. And one of their motives, of course, is to create panic and to create fear. And it's really important to each of you to be a center in this world of peace, to be a center of love, to be able to look at what's going on and observe what's happening in our human culture, and to be reasoned and calm to the greatest extent possible. It's almost impossible. It is impossible to stay totally calm when you're in the middle of one of these things. Yet I've read reports of how beautifully the people are behaving. And reports like that warm my heart, and I want them to warm your hearts. I want you to know that even in the midst of these storms, there are people holding the peace, holding the love. And you need to realize that. We all need to realize that. We do not need to fall into the panic mode that is incited oftentimes in our mainstream media that work for or on the payroll of these people that want to create disaster and pandemonium. That's their mission. That's what they see their job, because they want to maintain the control that they've always had. And we need to love them out of control. Because I don't know that we can necessarily change them. Although if anything can change them, our love can, because it is the most powerful force, the most powerful transformational force. That's the only word that I could come up with, although I don't really even like that word. power. It's the greatest power on the planet, the greatest power in the cosmos. So I again give kudos to the Japanese people and encouragement to everyone else around the world. And wherever the next earthquake may hit, whether it's the west coast of the United States or, as some say, the New Madrid Fault in the center of the United States in the Mississippi Valley, wherever the next earthquake is, we do need to, as Benjamin Fulford says, we do need to shut down these facilities, or at least take them out of the hands of the people that normally have been controlling them. And I don't know how we do that, but I put it out to you to put on your prayer list and your meditation focus to somehow take these facilities and any substation facilities that are linked to the two primary ones in the world that I named before. And we need to call on our extraterrestrial friends to somehow use their technologies, which I think they're already doing, to impact these things for the good. We do have power. We're not helpless. We're not at the mercy of madmen, even though it may have seemed in years past that that was the case. We've overcome that. Ethics have, in the eighth wave, overcome much of the negative energy that has been controlling and making things happen on Earth. Now it's the light that's in the driver's seat, the people of the heart, the people of love. We're the ones now that have the reins in our hands. We're the drivers. We're the ones that are being empowered to bring the changes to the Earth that are measurable and visible, that everyone can benefit. We're the ones that are establishing peace on Earth. I want you to know that you're important. Be empowered. Be empowered. I guess I'm going to leave you with that. I hope this little sharing is meaningful to you. I'm very grateful for all the responses that I get, even though sometimes I complain that I'm overwhelmed and sometimes I feel that way. I wouldn't trade some of the responses that I get for anything in the world because they're so beautiful. The story, someday perhaps I'll be able to share some of the stories with you. Some of the more outstanding ones, but they're all wonderful. And I do thank you for those. And to the people in Japan, thank you for being a tremendous, tremendous example of a people that can stay centered spiritually, even in the midst of disaster. Continue to hold. Let's all continue to hold those and the people in New Zealand and everyone that's been going through these tremendous disasters. Let's hold them in our hearts, in Libya and all around the world where there are conflict, where there is conflict. Let's hold these people in our hearts because they are our brothers and sisters, and remember that even those that are causing these things or exacerbating the situation, even they are our brothers and sisters. Oh, I do have to say one more thing. That plant that was built by GE, there were engineers that walked off the job because the design was so poor. It was made to fail. So many things are like that. Again, it's only us here, and we are the love. We are the light. We are the ones we've been waiting for to change the world. God bless you, and namaste. Thank you for listening.